He is the wizard.
The wizard, or so he says. Did it not occur to you that he might be an imposter, in league with a wicked witch and sent here to kill us?
Wicked witch, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, I'm not the one who's underestimating her cleverness.
74 years after The Wizard of Oz hit theaters back in 1939, Michigan native Sam Raimi is taking us back in time to show us how it all began.
In Oz, the Great and Powerful, we get to see how a Kansas magician became the wizard and how the Wicked Witch came to be.
Our movie guy Aaron Lafferty takes us behind the scenes of the production that filmed in Pontiac in 2011.
Am I dreaming?
You're in Oz.
Along comes a horrible tornado, and he's whisked off to this magical world called Oz that bears his name, strangely enough. And all the people in this new world think that Oscar is a magician, a real wizard with actual magical powers.
Oz the Great and Powerful is inspired by the first of L. Frank Baum's 14 books about the land of Oz, called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, published in 1900. The movie takes place before the classic 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz.
You'll die! You'll die! Did those crows just say we're gonna die?
In this movie, we get the backstory of the wizard, Glinda, and the Wicked Witch of the West. We also get to learn more about her sister, Evanora.
It's not in the books at all. You know, the first time we meet her, we just see her shoes. You know, her feet are sticking out from under that house. So for me, it was so exciting to breathe life into a character that was just a pair of legs in the originals. And Rachael is doing such amazing work bringing that character to life that's one of the more exciting things about the movie.
Got to be a bad girl. She's very kind of rotten to her core, manipulative, cruel, evil, and she has a lot of fun being bad.
Did it not occur to you that he might be an imposter?
And camera, and action.
For the new characters of Finley the Flying Monkey and China Girl, director Sam Raimi had Zach Braff and Joey King on set, recording their dialogue with the other actors, but were later replaced by CGI.
Sam really wanted me here to figure out the character, to kind of be on set and improvising and deciding the blocking. He's just such a collaborative filmmaker.
He asked me what I would do, and I do the motions with China Girl when we're doing the scene, like I am her. So, yeah, it's not really like motion capture, but he does get a feel, and so does the puppeteer Philip get a feel of how I would really do it. So it looks like me doing it.
In addition to costumes, hair, and makeup, for the look of Oz, Raimi opted to use practical sets, combined with computer-generated images. Crews constructed physical sets so the actors would have a visual reference.
I really wanted them to have something to touch and something to see that was real. And out the window, I didn't mind if they would imagine the world, but I wanted them to be in a real place as much as possible.
Robert Stromberg won 2 Oscars as production designer on Avatar and Alice in Wonderland, before creating the new landscapes of Oz.
But what I wanted to do was to not copy anything. I wanted to have influence definitely from the books, and take it to a place that, create a place that I would want to go see.
That's what Baum has done in his books. He's created an entire world of Oz. And so it's the biggest production job I've ever been involved with.
The magical world, it wasn't all in our heads. Robert and his team built sets for us to work on. So there was an actual yellow brick road, and my castle was like a fairy tale, but it was complete. It was right in front of my eyes.
Being a part of such a beautiful movie and working with such talented people, from the costumers to the set dressers to every department, everybody, I think it's the best of the best put together in a room.
I'm not going back. We're gonna find this wicked witch.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Really makes me want to see it. Now you get such a good flavor of what's about.
It looks great. It was filmed here, so go see it, but it's not for little kids, because there's some scary stuff and there's some adult themes in there. Because Oscar, who's James Franco's character, he's kind of a ladies' man. He's not very humble. He's a magician. He's a showman. So his character goes through this change on this journey through Oz.
Would you say maybe the tween and above?
Oh yeah, probably 10, probably 10 and up. You're good. Just under 10, you're gonna have to judge that for yourself because you have some scary images with the flying baboons, which are the newer incarnation of the flying monkeys. So,
yeah, and you know it is,
and
it's interesting too because so many of us are maybe familiar with this story and the storyline that's changed just a little bit.
Right.
And it's incredible to think of how they built the sets just to give the actors the visual reference points.
Right, and it looks so much better when you're not just standing in front of, like when you do the weather, the chroma key. Sometimes you can tell, well, you're not really standing next to the sky cam or whatever. You're not standing on top of a building, but right here you can see they're standing next to a cornfield. So it's a good thing. It makes it more believable. As much as this is a fantasy world, it makes it a little bit more believable when the characters can reach out and touch the sets.
Oh, nice.
Aaron, let's talk about the Michigan connections here.
Sure.
Because we talked about how the director is from Michigan,
right.
and that how a couple years ago a lot of this was filmed here
right.
in our state.
Right. It spent 6 months filming in Pontiac. There's sound stages there which have changed names. They were built during the film incentives. The movie spent $105 of its $200 million budget here. So it got those incentives. So yeah, there's a lot of money. Obviously, there's a lot of money in the marketing of this movie. You've probably seen a lot of that, and it's going to be the #1 movie this weekend. Not only is it in 2D, it's in 3D and IMAX.
Yeah.
And D-Box too.
Wow.
So.
And that whole 3D dollar really
Right.
just supersizes what their take is.
So it's a good family movie. It's hard, because of the 1939 classic movie that's so ingrained in my head from seeing it every year, some 30 plus times. It's hard to compare this movie to that movie. It's almost unfair, as I detail in my blog.
Does the witch melt? I'm melting.
No. We get to see the witch becoming the witch.
Oh.
We get to see the wizard becoming the wizard. So it's the backstory. And I gave the analogy of like the Star Wars prequels. I think this movie better explains why the witch became the witch than like why Anakin became Darth Vader, where that was kind of a cop-out for me. I think this does a much better job explaining. It does still leave some questions. Some of the things that, because of legal issues, Warner Brothers owns the copyrighted material from the original, so you won't see the ruby slippers. And the witch's shade of green is different than the classic movie because it's legally copyrighted.
Protected? Wow, that's amazing.
It's not something you always hear about.
And there's some nods to the old movie, and there's some characters that we see nods to. There's one notable that you won't see.
Huh, interesting.